had this really strange occurrence happen to me the other day. It was the 24th of December. I haven't believed in Father Christmas since I was about 10 years old. But something extremely unusual happened this 24th of December 2025. I actually think Father Christmas, who I don't believe in, came and visited me. But what's even more bizarre is that Father Christmas was disguising himself as the postman. And how do I know that? Because once the postman had scurried off, I went downstairs, I opened the front door, and there it was. A present for me. A new box had arrived. I had no idea what it could be. Actually, I'm twisting the story there a little bit. I had an inclination that something was arriving. The company that sent me the product is a Chinese earphone manufacturer. And I've been working with them for a very short period of time. And to be brutally honest, I wasn't too sure whether or not I wanted to take on their line of products. And I'm going to explain my reason of why I was a bit hesitant at first about taking on this brand. But let me just go back a little bit before I get to this brand, EarAcoustics Audio, and I'll just briefly like to talk about another earbud brand I work with, but they're not Chinese, they're actually based in South Korea. This company are called EarAcoustics, and they make highly affordable, excellent quality, fantastic sounding earbuds. But I had one minor, or one not major, but something about their product that it made it difficult for me to sell them. Let me explain what I'm talking about. When EarAcoustics sent me their earbuds, they arrived in boxes that I personally didn't feel particularly comfortable with. And the reason I didn't feel very comfortable with them is because on the front cover of these boxes were anime. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. You know what I mean? It's those sort of little Japanese cartoon characters. Anime, is it called? A-N-I-M-E? Anyway, when they arrived on the front cover of this RE1, I think it was the model they sent me, the RE1 and the RE2, or it might have been another model. I can't think exactly what model it was off the top of my head. Anyway, I'm digressing, but on the front of this box and in their sort of advertising, they always had these sort of feminine cartoon characters of anime characters that were young girls. Now me, I'm a middle-aged Englishman, and I'm a typical Englishman, and by that I mean I'm sort of very sort of how you would think an English person is, sort of conservative and a little bit quiet kind of thing. I'm not sort of a loud person, reserved I think is the word I'm looking for there. So when these boxes came with these sort of pictures of young sort of girls on the front of them, I didn't think that was the kind of product that I would want to offer my customers. If you see where I'm coming from, it's purely a cultural thing, because in Asia, these sort of cartoon character of young women seems to be highly accepted by people that live, like I say, in Asia. But to me, I just felt extremely uncomfortable with these pictures of these young girls, sort of as cartoon characters on the front of earbuds. Anyway, as I say, it's a cultural thing, because EarAcoustics Audio basically do the same sort of thing as well. They sort of had these feminine young girls used in sort of their marketing campaigns. And to me, like I said, I didn't feel hugely comfortable sort of selling products with these sort of images on them. But not only that, that wasn't the only problem I had with the EarAcoustics audio. The other problem I had with them was their model naming. They had, in my opinion, too many. There was like the star range and there was the spar range, and I couldn't tell between the two which was sort of the lower priced or the sort of budget one, and which was the sort of inferior range or the superior range, should I say. So I couldn't differentiate between the spar and the star, what the difference between these two models were. And there was like 6 models in the star range, and there was 6 or 7 models in the star range. And I just couldn't understand which model was which and what they were trying to achieve, what their position was within the range. What were the basic one, and which model was the next one up, and which model was the next after that, and which model was the top one. There was just too many models that all basically had the same name. And to me, with my old head and my old mind, it was just far too confusing. I would just like a simple product lineup of, this one's our entry-level product, this one's our middle tier product, and this one's our top sounding product, our sort of reference product. How easy do you think it could be? But no, they must have had about 15 models that all more or less had the same name, apart from one little word at the end. One might be Max, it might be Max High End, it might be Max Supreme, Max. Oh, it was just so confusing, their model lineup. And another reason that I wasn't too sure about taking this brand on was that not only did they have these sort of female cartoon characters sort of as used in their marketing and plastered on the front of their boxes and what have you, the actual look of the earbud was very, very feminine as well. It looked like you had a piece of jewellery in your ear. It was just too attention grabbing for my kind of taste. I say, I'm a middle-aged man, and I sort of like things to look a little bit conservative. Something that if you're sort of walking down the street, everybody's not going to be looking at you, pointing their fingers like, oh, what's that lump of jewellery he's got in his ear? I prefer something that's plain black, plain grey, plain blue. Just simple, neutral colours that don't stand out or grab attention from other people. But like I said, the EarAcoustics audio, they looked like a piece of women's jewellery. But I know the Asian and the Chinese, when they make their earbuds, they like to go for things that are bright colours, like precious stones, those bright blues and greens, etc. But yes, they do look very nice, but to me, the EarAcoustics audio just sort of erred on the side of being a little bit too feminine for my taste and what I was used to selling. But the young girl who works for EarAcoustics audio is very nice, a very charming young lady, and she convinced me to take on some of their earphones and give them a try. And when I did actually open up the box, I'm going to be honest with you here, and I'm going to have to eat a little bit of humble pie, is that actually they do look rather nice. Actually, they're very well constructed, and like I said, the fit and finish on them's lovely, and they do, like I say, really do look quite nice. Again, it's not exactly to my taste, but I've got to be honest here and say they do look quite nice, and I imagine they'll sort of appeal to a lot of girls that like sort of to have earbuds while they're about doing their business, going for a walk or whatever. But we still sort of had the problem again with these boxes, and I had the same problem with the boxes as what I had with their lineup, in that all the boxes all looked exactly the same, and there was no picture of the earbud or the earphone or whatever on the front of the box, so I didn't know what was inside the box very easily. You had to keep turning it around and twisting it around to try and find the name, this little name on the box. So I suggested to them, firstly, that I thought the model lineup was, there was just too many earbuds and it was too confusing for customers to know which was which and what the difference between each model was. But my main gripe was these boxes, and they all looked exactly the same, and I thought it would be so much more helpful for me if you could sort of put a picture and the name of the earbud on the front of the box in big letters and a nice picture, so I knew exactly what it was that was inside this box. And I'm pleased to say that they 100% have taken on board my suggestions, because when I opened up this box that Father Christmas, who was disguised as the postman, brought me, I actually opened up and I saw this. It's a new product from EarAcoustics, and it's called the Elysian Fields Genesis. And I'm dead chuffed with this box. Now, to most people, you think, oh, that's just a boring black box. But in my eyes, it's extremely effective. And why do I find it effective? Simply because I've got a picture of the earbuds on the front of the box, so I know exactly what is inside this box. Clear letters on the front, Genesis Elysian Fields. Now, I don't really know, because this happens to be a new product, I don't actually know much about this new product yet. But what I can sort of work out is, let me see on this box, on the back of the box there, let me just show you the back of the box. You'll notice there's no female cartoon characters on this box, I'm pleased to say. But I'd just like to point out that obviously you can get it in a variety of colours, such as silver, titanium, black and golden. But I also noticed down the bottom is we've got a set of numbers down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the one they sent me is number 1, and I don't really know the relevance of this number. Is 1 the basic, or number 2 the middle, and 3 the middle, and 4 the top model in the range? I don't know yet at the moment the significance of what these numbers are. I just know it seems that you can get them in 4 different colours, so whichever colour tickles your fancy, whether it's silver or gold or black or titanium, you've got a choice of different colours. Again, I like this little touch here in this little box here. That's very nice and kind of them, where they've put my business name there, Eden Audio. So the box is simple, it's plain, but it's effective, and it lets me know what exactly is inside the box. I say EarAcoustics Audio, they're a brand that seem to have sort of reinvented themselves. Apparently they were under a different name before. I don't know exactly why they changed name, but EarAcoustics Audio is the latest name that they go under. And one of the Chinese companies, or the sales girl, is very, very pleasant to deal with, a very nice, kind girl. And yeah, very good to deal with company. So I'm going to be giving these a listen, because I do enjoy walking. I sort of go out for an hour and a half daily to get exercise, keep myself healthy. And while I'm about doing my walks, because I live here in Somerset, I'm surrounded by a beautiful countryside. You can go out for a walk, you can forget all your troubles in the world. There's nobody else around apart from birds and sheep and cows and wildlife. It's such a nice thing to be able to go out for a lovely walk with your DAP, plug in a pair of earbuds and give your opinion on how these earbuds sound, because when it comes to earbuds, they're quite distinctive in their sonic characteristics. It's quite easy to tell the sound difference between one earbud and another. So I'm looking forward to actually giving these new earbuds from EarAcoustics Audio a try. So when they do come out, obviously there'll be a little bit more information about them, and you'll be able to obviously purchase them on the website and see all the other products from EarAcoustics Audio. They are a brand that do offer very, very affordable earbuds. So please check them out. And thank you, Father Christmas, aka the postman, for delivering these to me on the 24th of December. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.